Hi there, how's it going? In today's video I want to talk about the stuff I bring in my PFD for my personal ideal ratio of bringing extra gear versus being safe on the river. Most basic thing I think every kayaker should carry is a sling. A sling is super useful. There's so many ways to use a sling. It can be used to hoist up boats for like a quick one. You can repair boats, you can drag kayaks, you can throw someone close to shore. There's an infinite amount of useful reasons why you should bring a sling. It's light, it's convenient, it's gonna last you for a little bit. I personally bring always two slings. One goes into my PFD, the other one I strap around my waist, so that's a nice extra. Just having a sling I think is super important and a thing every kayaker should have in his or her kayak. This little piece of rope is super helpful. It's so light, it can be used for so many different ways. Most likely it's going to be used as a prusik, so as a brake for your rope. We have all seen that big banana footage, so I guess lesson learned there. Super nice, super useful, just throw it in your PFD and you're on the safe side. Ideally bring two, so you have two brakes, one for the arm, one for the foot, but one does work as well. Moving on to the beaner situation, I tend to bring one locking and one non-locking beaner in my PFD. I do have two more locking beaners in my kayak, just to have a nice little variety of them, but two in the PFD I think is the minimum. It's pretty good, pretty useful. Once again, they hold up for so long these days. Made out of aluminum, they're so light, shouldn't really bother you too much. Next up, the river knife. Obviously, we're working with ropes. We do need to be able to get rid of those ropes if stuff is going south real quick. Super important piece for your personal safety. Also to make sure you are ready for that next lunch on the river, right? Those river knives are designed for our needs. So that means they don't have a sharp tip, so I can't stab myself. They have like this bit here with a bit of more of a rough blade, so it's way easier to cut ropes and stuff like that. So well worth the investment and an absolute must in everyone's PFD. Also, one more thing I think everyone should carry is a whistle. Just because when we're working in whitewater situations, the water can be very loud at times. It can be very hard to communicate. If you need to get attention of someone, a whistle can be absolutely important and key. It's so light, it's easy. Just have one, and it just makes so much sense. I have had so many situations where I was really thankful for having a PFD with a whistle attached to it. They're great. Another thing I think is really handy to have in the PFD is a first aid blanket. We have had situations where people had to swim and got super cold after, and just having like a small little first aid blanket, the ones you can get out of cars and stuff like that, they're so helpful in situations like that. Right now I don't carry one in my PFD because I used the last one recently. I have to stock it up. You can buy them in every single supermarket. They're like $1 or something, and really convenient to have in there. Moving on to the personal side of things, I personally love to bring a mouth guard. For one reason, it's psychological for me. I know when I put this thing on, it's game on. There's probably a big drop, tubby run or a gnarly rapid in front of me. It makes me ready, it makes me feel really good in my kayak, but also it prevents my teeth from clenching at big booths and hard landings, so I don't abuse my teeth as much. And I mean, there is still the factor that these mouth guards might have to do something with you getting knocked out less often. So I really like to use them, I enjoy them, I bring them, and it's been good so far. The last few years we have all been pretty troubled by ear problems, meaning ear infections, having problems to hear, having water in our ears. So I finally went ahead, made myself some nice little earplugs. You just throw them in your PFD, and when you're about to put on, you put them in your ears and you're good. Since I had them for about 3 weeks in California, I haven't had a single issue with any ear issues and ear problems. So I can just really recommend, get on the earplug train. Sooner or later you will save yourself pain, not being able to hear, and worst case you will save yourself a really painful and costly and long time off the water operation. So now I want to show you how I pack my things in my PFD, because obviously it's really important for me to still have the full range of movement whilst kayaking. I don't want to be restricted because there's so many things bulking up my PFD, but I think right now I found a pretty good system to pack everything up in a way that I still have the full range of movement whilst carrying all my essential safety gear in my PFD. Alright, let's get started. So, the small things such as this piece of rope and my personal belongings like mouth guard and earplugs I like to put here in this compartment, just because these things are really small and quite easy to get lost if I open up my PFD. So I just put it in here, zip it up, and they're safe. Next up, I have my knife. You have these bungee compartments here which tend to hold stuff really well, so I just put it in here, make sure the clipper goes over, and that stays, and that's safe. This spinner goes in here, it fits really well, it sits really nice. This one you can put underneath and in between, so you're not getting any thicker of a PFD, but you fit 2 carabiners. So that is pretty much this compartment done for me. So we can go ahead and zip this up. And now in the NRZN you have this compartment here. There's like a nice little pouch you can access from both sides, and this is where I put my sling. This is an awesome spot for it because it really doesn't give me any issues with my range of movement. I have still full range of movement even though I'm adding a sling, a quite rather bulky thing, into my PFD, but it's still accessible from both sides, quick and easy, and I don't need to be worried about losing smaller stuff when I need to access that thing quick. So we go ahead and just stuff it in here, make sure it's centered nice in the middle so I don't feel it while it's kayaking, zip it up, and that's good to go. Last but not least, here's the whistle. It can be tricky at times to finding the right spot to access it because you have to think about it. You want to be able to access your whistle when kayaking really easily. You don't want to open up any pouches or look for it and scramble for it. You will have cold hands. You want to be able to access it straight away. And the best spot I found this whistle to be sitting in is right here. On that zipper there's a small black thing attached to it, and I can run this metal loop through here, and there I will be able to always access it real quick without any issues, and yeah, just play it safe on the river. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, and boom, just like that, this whistle is nice and secure in a spot where I can always access it whilst wearing the PFD. All I need to do, I need to reach down and rip it up. Super good spot for it. Alright, so that is pretty much what I tend to bring in my PFD for like the general use. Of course, as I said earlier, if I were to go on an expedition I would bring other stuff, but this is like my basic setup, my always on. It does give me extra space, spare room for, let's say, a couple of energy bars. If I were to be on a longer run, it would give me space for additional stuff. I can stuff my GoPro in the PFD. So this is my setup. Seems to work pretty fine so far, and I really hope I could help you guys with that. And let me know if you guys have a different setup, if you have any ideas how to like make that even more efficient and better. Obviously always interested in things like that. And yeah, I hope I could help you guys, and see you next time.